it's Doris with Aldi Books, and Shawn, the book maniac, and I are here with the very last in this initial release of 20 short stories for the Faber and Faber 90th anniversary celebration. And it's fitting that we end with Sarah Hall's Mrs. Fox, as Sarah Hall has published all of her novels and short story collections with Faber, and she actually teaches, or participates at least it said, with the Faber Academy, the creative writing courses. So Sarah began her career as a creative writing professor and a poet, yes. And I actually thought that she was more of a short story writer. I was more familiar with Madame Zero, which is a short story collection that, you know, I had to have. I've heard great things about, and I just got this one at the BookTube Prize meetup, Sudden Traveler. This is Madame Zero. This is her new collection that just came out this month. Oh my gosh. So it's a great place to be with Sarah Hall. So this short story collection, Mrs. Fox, I have only read the first 15 pages and I'm very intrigued thus far. The writing is really spot on. I like a story where the title, Mrs. Fox, and a few details kind of clue you in immediately as to what's going to happen. I picked up right away when they were describing the wife. This is a husband and wife scenario, and her form, her essence, a scent of corrupted rose. And then a couple paragraphs down, under the hollow of her throat, below the collar of her blouse, is a dribble of fine gold, a chain on which hangs her wedding ring. I think we can get a clue about what might happen with Mrs. Fox. So yeah, I'm curious to see if Shawn can hang. This is typically not his forte, but possibly he might make this one an exception. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get to this and finish it up, because I really think this is a story that needs to be read in one sitting. So get right to that, and let's take it to Shawn and just see.
Hey Doris, well, you were very curious about my reaction. I'm very curious about this story. The surreal twist just before where we stopped reading, it's not working for me. You're right to suspect, but the writing is otherwise so good, and the story was holding my interest. I'm not going to bail on it, but I don't think I'm going to end up liking it, because that kind of a surreal plot twist does not work for me. We're not going to talk about what the twist is, at least not for now, but yeah, no. I really liked the writing. I liked how much they felt like strangers to each other. I liked some turns of phrase and the kind of sense of foreboding, and I thought she was pregnant. That seemed at first like morning sickness. The description of their sex life was, I thought, really interesting. She was a foxy lady, hey? And, but I have to say that there was a lot of weird word choices, like her face is pinched dark around the eye sockets. Why the eye sockets? Why not just the eyes? But anyway, markedly so, as if an overnight gauntening has taken place. Well, I checked on the internet, and there's no such word as gaunten. It obviously means to become gaunt, but that kind of a thing, when there's too much of it, and maybe it's arguable whether there's too much of it, but then also when they're driving out to the fateful park where the story takes a surreal turn. Oh, I guess they're walking. So they're walking through the cul-de-sac ringed by Kaluna houses. Kaluna is a purplish bush in Europe and the UK, but what is a Kaluna house? Just a house with Kaluna around it? There was a little bit too much of that kept me going to the dictionary and taking me out of the story. I like looking up new words, but once I found out what they meant, or once I couldn't find them in the dictionary, I was just thinking, what are you trying to prove here, Ms. Hall? Anyway, yeah, I'm going to keep reading it, but I don't think I'm going to ultimately end up liking it because this kind of a story is not usually for me. Anyway, let's see how it ends, shall we?
She was a foxy lady. You always crack me up, Shawn. Yeah. It was fine. It was fine. I can't fault it in any way, really. I think the writing was good, as you said, and it was a well-constructed story. Thematically, this one really should resonate with me with the environmental overtures and the our man's pushing out nature and how nature is trying to hang on and actually revitalize and reinfuse the suburbs. But I think I never got over that distance between the couple initially, and you mentioned it. So I just never felt close to either of the characters. I didn't feel like they were like connecting. They didn't seem to have a chemistry to me between the married couple. And then, the second half of the story, I mean, come on, guys. Do we have to spell it out? The surreal nature of this novel. But I feel like thematically they were trying to have an environmental impact with that second half. And I can totally see that. But again, just as the story went, it didn't make sense to me because he was so disconnected initially. And then for him to be so nurturing, I'm just going to stop there. It was fine. It was like a 3-star for me. But yeah. What you think, Shawn?
Hey, Doris. Well, I think maybe this story is crazy like a fox. Maybe we're just not getting it, but no, I didn't love it at all. I think it's really well written. I thought she used some really bizarre vocabulary, didn't need to in places, but otherwise the writing was quite strong, and she actually did make me feel bad for the husband after the surreal departure of his wife, and I couldn't stand the surreal plot twist, but yet she still made me feel something for the husband left behind. So that's evidence of some writing prowess, I must say. But otherwise, I agree with you. I mean, who really cares? I would read something else by her that wasn't a piece of fiction of this ilk, but this story left me cold. Better luck next time.